Welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a soul food craft brew on the side. I'm Jade, and I'm here with Nate and Aaron. They're both here.
Hello!
Hello!
Yeah, that's soulful. That's good.
Soulful.
That's good.
Yeah.
Today we're seeing the truth of chapter 28 of Soul of the Fire.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's nice that we're officially just, agreed upon 5 books into the series, and we're finally at the truth.
Oh,
Finally at the truth.
we've arrived at the truth.
And there's for sure not going to be, a weird cliffhanger about more truths out there at the end.
No.
Nah.
No, everybody's going to put everything on the table.
Yep, right
Yeah.
here, right now.
You guys have been listening along since 2019, roughly, and here it is. This is the absolute crest of the show, where everything is going to be revealed.
This is
and
the
we're going
end.
to know it all.
Yep, nothing more after this. It's the truth.
Gosh, it's crazy to think we're here.
Yeah, finally did it.
What I just realized is that the show started in a whole different world.
A whole new world?
No,
Oh.
a different one. Pre this one.
It does feel like such a long time ago, truly.
Yeah.
The pre-2020s felt like
Yeah.
such a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
It's really, really wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like the timeline of this book series. It goes so fast. You'd think it's 15 years, but actually, no, it's just like 5.
Yes. So, okay, that was today's moment of truth. The recap, getting to what you just said, we got timeline confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Zed is a liar. Chimes are loose. That was about it.
They
Last
are
one.
out for sure.
Yes.
Well,
Who let the chimes out?
Richard claims the chimes are loose and that was just a fact that everyone else has to get on board with.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's adamant
Yeah.
about that.
The
and we're
seeker
gonna get into that.
Yeah, the seeker of truth is adamant that something's true.
Well, he's we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it before I start talking shit or anything like that. Okay? Kahlan is still upset.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically about the whole do Chailu of it all. And assuming that Zed must have known about it, so obviously Richard didn't fucking forget for everybody, huh? But Richard assures her that's not the fucking truth. Zed he realized what the fucking reality of the situation was, that the chimes are here. He didn't worry about the how and the why and all the bullshit. When you see the rain, when it's leaking in, you don't worry about the clouds and how the rain got there. You just fix the fucking leak.
It was funny, though, because we were talking about this a little bit this morning. Richard is revealed this information, and he immediately starts thinking about world problems and not the, hey, you should fill your wife in on what's going on and how the situation is so she can be calm. And then he says this, which is that exact thing, but then he just does it fucking backwards.
Yeah.
What the shit, Richard? I mean, we know it's coming from an okay place, right? He's not doing anything actively malicious, but he doesn't worry about explaining himself at all. And I feel like that's a big missing part of letting everybody else in on the logic. That would help everybody.
It's tough because it's like we talked about last chapter. He has a reason right now to be flustered because he's either mid or coming down from a potential panic attack right now. The problem is he has had opportunities to tell people this information and has chosen not to because he didn't think it was important. He made an assumption about the importance of a different culture. And granted, all of it happened in a very short amount of time. I am for sure Monday morning quarterbacking by saying he should have told someone this, but also, I don't have a great memory. If I was in his shoes, I like to think I would remember to tell my wife that I might have been married once or twice prior to this. However, whole lot of shit's happened in a very short amount of time. I do think he's in the wrong. He should have brought this up kind of to Kahlan's point, well, okay, you didn't tell me, but you for sure told Zed, right? And he's like, no, I didn't tell anyone because I thought the whole thing was dumb. That's a mistake on his part.
He hasn't spent a lot of time with Zed, so you can understand how there wouldn't have been time for that.
True.
But by the same token, it hasn't been that long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So forgetting, it's been 6 months. maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe full year is soon. We talk about this more in the timeline episode, but it's such a short period of time, and we know that he and Kahlan spent time together in Aidendrill, like hanging out. Like, you're not spending time at the fire at the end of the night going, let's discuss some of the things that have happened, because this has all happened very quickly. There's been, how many women has he been close to, even if it wasn't his fault, since he's known Kahlan? That is wild in that short little period of time, and we didn't have any time to discuss any of these crazy bullshits.
Every day ends. So every day they ended together, they had 20 minutes. At no point did Kahlan ask Richard, hey, you never told me how you got to the Palace of the Prophets. At no point does Richard go, hey, wife, person I love, person I want to spend time with, I just remembered this crazy funny story that happened to me on the way to the Palace of the Prophet. You aren't going to believe what happened. Listen to how crazy this is.
Listen to this nipple story I have.
Yeah. Like, they have a lot of stories that they should be sharing with each other because I keep getting told that they like each other. I don't see them liking each other that much, but I keep getting told they like each other.
What the fuck are they talking about at the end of the day? They're not fucking.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. If they were having sex, I could believe it, because you get distracted, and we're just fucking a lot, because we really like each other. We've only been together this long. But no, you're not fucking. So you gotta be filling the time with something. Are you just eating all the time and staring at each other's eyes and being like, the weather's nice?
Just scrolling their phones.
Yeah.
All night. We didn't even talk about it, man.
Damn kids and their phones. Just heads in their phones all day.
Ridiculous. But Richard is desperately trying to convince Kahlan that it is the chimes that killed not just Junie, but the baby too. Because mud people have magic and are in danger from not only the Imperial Order and them like coming in and being like, we're going to slaughter all the magic people, but also the chimes slowly decaying magic.
So is this kind of indicative of the power level that the mud people have? Like, where Zed is a full-on wizard. He has and actively uses magic. The mud people, we know they have their ritual and they can speak to their dead ancestors. That screams magic to me, but that's outside of maybe the Birdman and his weird connection with birds, kind of the only magic they have.
Well, I mean, both speak with dead and speak with animal or ritual spells that you have access to at level 1. So it is that. I mean, it's level 1 is the weakest.
You're right. Holy fuck, I missed it.
They have magic. It's just not that, it's either not that much or it's not that powerful. And that's what Zed said, is it will start with that. You know, and we get more examples of
so they're getting
lower
targeted
level magic.
First.
Well, and even like within the same person, they're losing their lower level magic first.
Oh.
Spoiler for later in the chapter. But yeah, you're onto it.
Perfect.
You're onto it.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page. Whether that's correct, I don't know. But you and I, we're good.
But then we have the same idea. Yeah.
And who's weakest if not a baby?
A baby.
Babies.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue a baby of something smaller, like a moth.
So baby
Still
weakest.
baby.
Yeah,
I mean, baby in general of every single species to ever exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, baby.
You just want to argue. That's what that says.
Which baby is weakest is what I'm trying to. What's the weakest baby?
Nobody asked that question.
I did.
Why?
I don't know.
Nate's apparently going to do a solo side path where he does a bracket of who is the weakest baby.
Gotta find the weakest baby.
Captures a bunch of babies and pits them against each other.
I was hoping it was more of a
That
hypothetical.
feels a little, I don't know about that. Baby fighting ring.
Baby fight club.
We'll get him. He can't even crawl yet. Well, this is going to be a really long fight.
It's just a shittier battle bot.
You just got to wait until they're 4 and be like, by the way, you started this years ago. You got to go fight this kid. What?
It's kind of like
I got
the
money
Muppet
riding
babies.
on it. Let's go.
It's kind of like the Muppet Babies, but like violent.
I'm back on board, actually. Hold on.
I just remembered Celebrity Deathmatch. You guys ever watch Celebrity
Love it.
Deathmatch?
Oh, yeah.
As long as we animate this,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. We can do whatever we want.
I think, yeah, if it's poorly animated, it's funny. Yeah.
Poorly is the...
Purposefully poorly animated.
Oh,
yeah.
and strictly fictional. strictly.
All right, well, now we got to get back to having a discussion.
Well, Kahlan thinks she would know if magic was, like, she knows her magic. Her magic is fine.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you say that she doesn't know what the fuck's going on with magic, Richard?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker. She doesn't think there's any proof. Just because he says that Junie and the baby were killed by the chimes doesn't mean it's fucking true, Richard.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean you know.
Yeah.
That's just how you feel.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but there's no facts.
Yeah.
And this is despite the fact that in this book, Kahlan and Anne had a conversation about how they agreed they just need to start trusting Richard because he is the seeker of truth. And I understand that she is rightfully upset with how he is conveying a lot of this information, but it is now getting a little annoying to me that it's like, hey, he is the seeker of truth and he's trying to tell you the truth and you just keep questioning him. Not that long ago, you said you weren't going to do this shit. So you guys are a toxic fucking couple right now. You need to goddamn communicate with each other so you can be an efficient, crime-fighting, problem-solving team.
It does feel like Kahlan likes to bitch at other people for not trusting Richard, but will consistently not trust Richard.
And question everything he does.
And that's just who she is.
But to be fair, he is not being very communicative
That is true.
with what he's thinking right now. And that forces her to make that decision.
He goes, I know I'm right. I've already done the math. I don't need to explain it to these dumber people if they can't catch up. And I'm not wrong. So I don't like there's an arrogance to it. Like, I know that I'm not actually fucking involved with Do, so I don't need to fucking explain it to all these people. Even if she's flirting with me, even if she's making my wife uncomfortable, my wife should be smart enough to figure it out. And if she's not, she'll catch up eventually.
I feel like this whole conversation is really just centered around the fact that it's your wife. Do you owe everybody an explanation for... You're right. I said it wrong. I apologize. It's because he's talking to his wife. If it was a stranger, you don't owe anybody an explanation.
Right.
I mean, we see shit like this all the time. We don't have to go into details, but online, people are like, hey, do your fucking research. You know, I'm not going to do all the research and explain why everything that is to you because you're a stranger. You need to do your own thinking and looking. But I'm going to explain it to you, my wife, because you're my wife. Just for that reason. That's the reason why. And Richard is being like, well, everybody needs to use their brains and catch up to my speed. It's like, maybe, but maybe you could just fill everybody in and we can skip this whole bit where everybody's confused.
I just think that part of it is the not caring what other people think. He does. He wants them to catch up, but not enough to spend the time to help them do it. And it's like, he knows that he's right, so he doesn't care if other people don't know that he is because he knows the truth of it. But when it comes to your spouse, if you go, I don't care what you think about it because I'm too busy to explain it to you, that means we could break up because I think that you're a cheater. And that's just the way it is because you don't have the time to explain it to me. No, you should have care and want to give explanations.
They need therapy. They need to sit down and have some couples therapy.
That.
Yeah.
We have discussed that.
Yeah.
But Richard, at this point, he does turn away from this emotional conversation about Do and all of that. We've moved past it. He aggressively goes to put Kara on the spot about her Aegil and her bond not working.
Well, he brings up that Kara didn't use her Aegil, that she grabbed somebody's knife.
That's what leads him to realize that it's not working. But the real worry there is that the bond is not working. So the army overall might not be connected to him anymore, which means that they might not want to follow him.
Yeah, I mean, I would put that similar to like the mud people being able to communicate with their spirits is like that bond that the Lord Rahl has to the people of Tahara, you know, by saying like that's got to be on the weaker side. That's definitely a ritual spell. Like you cast that in combat, that's going to take a spell slot, but like you do it just every day in the morning, you're good.
Is this the thing on his mind? He's thinking, oh, fuck, when magic fails and I am a new wizard and don't really know my shit, and I've just been given this bond to all these people, like, am I losing control of the thing I'm supposed to be in control of? And that's his existential crisis right now, where that could be one thing where my wife is freaking out because she thinks I cheated on her. And actually, there might be a bigger problem than that. To Richard. I'm not saying that he should ignore. I'm just saying that might be why he's like, oh, fuck, the whole thing might be failing right now, actually.
Yeah, and I think that he may have had a slight inkling of that back when they started having those discussions with Zed, but he didn't think that's what was happening until he saw Kara not grab the Aegil and grab for the knife instead, because we were with her when she didn't see the bond, like when she was trying to find him and couldn't find him.
Right.
Richard wasn't with her for that. So I don't even know if he knew about that prior to this right here.
Oh.
But we know that it's been failing for days.
The bond to me seems like a bit more of a personal thing, even though he shares it with any Mord Sith that does the devotion, right? Like they all have that bond with him. Even though many people might have that, it still feels personal. And so him just like turning and pointing and be like, why don't you use your Aegil? And it's like, dude, couldn't we have been like, hey, Kara, I need to ask you something. To your point, like Richard is trying to do the right thing and he's just going about it the entirely wrong way.
He's getting all of the facts. He's in
Yeah.
fact-finding mission, which is where he kind of needs to be, but he's parsing it out wrong. But like to Kara, it's time to do your duty the way you say you always will. I need the honest fucking truth. Are you not able to protect me as well because your magic is failing?
Well, and I think that's the thing. The other thing that he may have been picking up on, which we know that he kind of was all throughout, she's acting different. She's acting on edge. She's been acting more unsettled than normal.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
The cat in the sack thing.
That's why she was so pissy the other day.
Right.
Because
So-
she figured out.
Well, she's been all the time.
I didn't.
Yeah.
She's always, but then she was even more so.
Yeah,
Because
and-
she figured out that her gift wasn't fucking working.
Right. And so Richard, I think, I think that's why it's aggressive, is because he may have been picking, but instead of being like, hi, Kara, you've been having an issue for a minute, right? You grabbed for a knife just now. That wasn't just because you were worried about grabbing that guy's magic, right? And she was like, fuck you, bud. But actually, she didn't say that. You know what we should grab right now?
What's that?
What's that?
A beer.
I do that.
Damn, that is the only time in my entire life that I've ever been the tiniest little bit disappointed when someone suggested I grabbed a beer, because I would also love to grab a sword. But famously, the sword that's within reach of my podcast seat, I can't actually come off the wall.
Which I am actually grateful for. So we will grab a beer and then we will be back in just a bit.
Naderoo, what are we drinking today?
Today we are, I walked away. I had to put my hat on because we're drinking a crushable beer. And the reason I'm excited about that, it's a new style of beer that I've not heard about before. And I am very excited because I need to find all of them. Today we are drinking Clementine Crush, a warm weather crusher style beer with fresh clementine, lemonade. Clementine? Could be called Clemonade. Added for ultimate flavor and refreshness. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't say it earlier. This is a Clementine Shandy from Griffin Claw Brewing Company.
What do we got for percentage there?
Clocking in at 5% even.
Oh yeah.
So
that
good.
Got all over my computer.
Need a towel after that one.
You would think I would have had like a splash guard by now, but nope, we're going to keep learning that lesson.
That means we have a problem as people if we need a splash guard like a fucking buffet.
Hey, you were being nice and said we. I have a problem.
No, there's an episode for sure where I cracked a beer and was instantly covered in it and commented, so that's what that's like. And now your computer knows what that's like.
Boy, that's pretty good though.
It is fucking delicious.
We were discussing a comparison to another beer that is very fruity and is normally a summer beer, and I was mentioning how I'm kind of looking for like a new good fruity summer beer, and boy, this is a strong first impression.
Clementine Crush coming in clutch.
Dare I say, it fucking crushed it. I think I'm going to go right out of the bat. I'm going to give it 8 Clementine.
8 Clementines.
8 Clementines. 8 Clementines out of 10.
Clementines? Jade? Clementine?
Jade? Clementine?
I think I need to leave.
The other thing
I
that
need an
occurs to me,
adult.
they may not even know about the fucking sauna joke where that happens at. But, you know, if you're an old man, you get it. You get it.
All I want to say is that this is slowly devolving into D&D and Family Guy references in such a weird way.
I talk about what I know.
Okay. I'll give it like 8 Clementines. I'm not going to say it like that.
No, you got to say it quietly.
No, I
It's gotta be-
don't. I don't. I'm not a weird old man that's half naked.
Well, that's fine. I'm partway to
All
being an
naked
old
with a
man,
towel.
so I can say I am also going to give this 8 Clementines because it's fucking perfect.
I mean, 8's across the board. That's
Like
pretty
an
good beer.
orange juice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like an orange juice, but it's not so flavorful or so in the pie. Like there's a little bit of bitterness there, which I also like. It's
Clement-
just like almost a hint of an IPA, but that maybe keeps me away from a 9. But this is crushable. I could drink this all day.
Great river beer.
This very well could be somebody's 9 or 10, and I wouldn't fault him for it.
I just realized that that there are so many different fruits you can put in lemonade, right? That but you normally see like strawberry or raspberry, the red berries, sometimes blueberry. That one's a pretty good one. But I've never really seen like a citrus lemonade because it's already citrus. Maybe it's too much citrus typically. But limeade. Oh.
Well,
We just found a whole rabbit hole for Jade.
Is it just orange juice? Oh, I'm confused now. Okay, we need to get back to the chapter. Oh my goodness. All right, we'll see you there. Hey guys, glad you're back. Because we're back. We're all here. We're ready to go.
I mean, we got delicious beer now, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
We got
Hell
a
yeah.
crushable, poundable beer. It's going to be great.
Hashtag poundable.
Caitlin and Kara believe that they will still follow, like the army is who we're talking about here, because he's Richard Rawl, okay? Because what I wrote is he's Lord Rawl, but we all know that the term Lord Rawl holds a certain connotation with certain people. It's not a good thing always, but he's changed that. He's awesome. He's the hero.
he's a newer version of the older, shittier thing.
Yeah, he's the magic
Yeah.
against magic, so people are still going to love him. They're not going to leave him.
I was definitely getting the impression that, like, the army is still going to follow you, even if they don't have the bond. Like, you're a good person
Yeah,
and the
that's what they're
army
trying to
knows
say,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not like you need to rely on that bond. You didn't just lose your army.
But we do know that those bonds are very important because, I mean, those people came and found him in the middle of nowhere,
Mhm.
and it gives him quite a bit of leverage and power. And some of the dumber people, like the smart people who know who Richard is, probably will for sure stay. The dumber people who are just influenced by their gut might get a little bit like, yay, you know what? They're raping and pillaging over there, and they look like they got a big food source, so I'm going to go over there instead.
Well, and imagine if Kara is feeling agitated because her bond is probably a little bit deeper or, you know, maybe more personal compared to the average Daharan person.
Power
But if-
level, right?
But if the Daharans are losing that bond, yeah, there might be a thing of like, there could have been a subconscious or just a low-level thing of like, Richard's a good person. All of these people are bonded to Richard. Therefore, everyone got a little bit nicer because they're bonded to a nice person.
Oh.
Now that bond is gone. The people of Dahara could be freaking the fuck out right now.
They all
we
turn
have no
into
idea.
shit bags. Oh
Well,
my God, that'd
not
be so
necess-
terrible.
Not necessarily on purpose, but like we have real world examples of what happens when your perceived security or safety blankets disappears or
Yeah.
is perceived to have disappeared. People tend to not react the best.
When you have a guiding light in front of you, it's easier to abstain from negative things. And when
Yes.
that's ripped away from you, you know, your baser instincts may come back in and you may go, you know, I want to get fucking drunk and go do some violence.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Well, let's do some gratuitous violence.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I had another thing here that I didn't quite understand, though, is that if all the magic disappears, doesn't that still mean it's a level playing field for everyone? Like, if everyone has the same handicap, it's not a big deal. So, like, losing magic is bad because you lose your own stuff, but, like, he's worried about losing, like, he's focusing on the war right now, but you still have a war. Now neither side can use magic.
I think maybe the problem is that Richard views Jagang as being very, very powerful, in which he is. So Jagang may be one of the last people on his side to lose his ability. And as it turns out, his ability is still a day fucker. Like, it's
Fair.
a war fucker, to be honest.
Okay.
He's his own spy, essentially. He can be in anybody's brain on our side. And as long as that exists, we have a real problem.
He might be able to send more magical assassins at Richard than Richard will have access to whatever defensive or offensive magic he might have.
Or get into the brains on people on Richard's side.
Yeah.
His magic is still working. But my question is then, I wonder if he would have a limited access because he can only already really get into the minds of people with the gift. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
And a soul. Have to have the gift and have a soul.
And be alive, essentially. Yeah. So maybe by that point, he can only get into high-level wizards, and they already know how to guard against him. So maybe you're right, and that would just cancel it all out, and then we're just fighting a fucking regular-ass war.
I think what part of the issue is whether or not the other side still has all of their pieces in the war or not. He doesn't have his, so that fucks everything. But on top of that, people are dying every day. And there are magical people in the Midlands, like groups of people who are magical. And if those people are somehow going to die because of the chimes, then it's a bigger problem that, like, yeah, you won't have your army, but who are you even having an army to protect if your people are dying? I think that's the problem.
This might be, I need you guys to clarify for me. Wasn't there something about how the bond prevents Jagang from entering into the people closest to Richard?
It does.
So if that bond disappears, Kara could be taken over by Jagang.
No, but I think this is where the issue is that the bond may fail, which will allow him to get into people's mind, but around the same time that the bond's going to fail, Jagang isn't going to be able to get in.
Oh, it's going to go down at the same rate, kind of a thing?
Those are both very strong pieces of magic. So it will probably even out, but that's where, the risk, there is a risk.
This all kind of really ties into Zed's explanation about how when magic fails, like, it's kind of a crapshoot to figure out exactly how it's going to go down, because any one thing could fail first. And depending on what else is left, i.e. what else is a little more powerful than that, the game could be changing like every few days. Like the woman that Dalton employs.
Franca.
Yeah, Franca.
Yeah.
That's right. Hot goth lady.
Yeah, don't worry. I know her name.
Aaron's got it.
I'm on it.
But like, her shit fails first, but you still have people like Jagang who are able to get into brains. Maybe because the gift is there, he can still fuck with her for a little while, and then that stops. But like, the board state constantly changes.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, he kind of pivots too. He's just trying to prove this mainly to Kahlan, because everybody else is kind of just riding Richard's wave like they always do. But he says Zed didn't know that Richard's mom told him about Lurk the cat. And isn't Lurk just such a whimsical fucking name? So doesn't that just raise red flags for you that I heard about a cat named Lurk and Lurk is such a weird name? So there's your proof.
This is such fucking bullshit.
I don't get it.
If we're going to say Lurk is whimsical, chimes are whimsical.
Chimes are like the most whimsical thing.
Seriously. Like,
so whimsical.
This is not helping at all. Don't bullshit of like, oh, Lurk's a little whimsical. Fuck off, dude. Like, imagine if chimes played right now.
They're like the most whimsical thing I've ever fucking heard.
The most whimsical.
Like fairies have chimes around them. See?
Yay, it took me entirely too long.
You know what that reminds me of? The word lurk. No, it doesn't. Fuck off, dude.
Yeah, that's not whimsical.
I just want to add a little bit to this conversation. I just punched why the word lurk is whimsical. Into Google. It's just Google. Take that for what you will. But the AI says the word lurk isn't inherently whimsical, but its usage can sometimes lend a playful, almost mischievous quality to the language.
I hate Google AI, and I've never been more happy to have it on my side than right now.
Hey, just to get an outside opinion, what do the computers think?
I think AI did nail it because it's not whimsical. You know what it is? Mischievous.
It's
There
mischievous.
is a difference between those two words. They both have a playful quality, but they are different.
Right.
You guys might have to help remind me. I don't remember which episode or side path it was, but I believe when we referred to lurk, I don't think we made whimsical noises. I believe we were doing like lurk.
Yeah, I think I hollered it a few times at Jade and freaked her out. And then we said that was the opposite because lurk kind of inherently implies that you're being quiet.
Yeah, but you think about a bird, I think is where my brain went. Lurk.
Lurk. Not whimsical.
That's a lark.
Not
I think that's different.
Whimsical.
No, that's a different kind of bird.
Yeah, we're talking about the bird that goes lurk.
So,
that's a snipe.
for some reason, Kara asks what the chimes are because I thought she was with us this whole time. But she needs to explain to her. I kind of felt like maybe Dew should have been the one asking this question, but I'm not an author.
I was pretty sure Kara was in the tent and stuff with like Richard and Kahlan when they were in with Zed and Ann, and all this was discussed.
Why wouldn't she have been? Where the fuck would she have been?
Yeah. Apparently she was just outside not listening in.
She was busy lurking outside.
Lurk. Okay.
While canonically hollering that she's lurking.
She's playing lurking. Playing with her dead Aegil. I don't know. So Richard thinks about how he kind of explains to everybody that some weapons were made from people using subtractive magic to remove some things and additive magic to add attributes to people. So that's like the Dreamwalkers, Marizwith. Those are people with souls that had things fucked with in their body, in their brains, whatever.
Is that the first time that's been described? I mean, the logic of it makes sense. You use subtractive magic to take some stuff away. You use additive magic to add it. But is that the first time it's fully been described?
I think
the process
so. In that way.
I
we
know,
knew that they were people.
Yes.
We knew that they were altered.
Yes. But it was never explicitly stated how they were altered until this new look in.
Right.
Okay.
We know about like the Quillian that can take away the magic of somebody.
Yeah.
We know little things.
Yeah.
But we didn't. This is the first time that's been read out to us like that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And now the weapon is in charge of making war. So that's where things have kind of flipped. Where they used to be using these people, they were able to be controlled. But now they are controlling things. So it's a little dangerous.
It's almost like what happens when you give a group too much power. Like they're probably going to abuse that power at some point.
Well, and like think of in a I think it's close enough, but like this is the Terminator problem. If you build a machine and then give it or it discovers on its own or whatever, but it becomes a conscious being. If it decides humans are a problem, everything from its perspective is going to say, yeah, all right, you're a problem. Right. And then if we go, well, hold on, we're going to try to shut you off now. They're the victim. So like, yeah, they're going to fight back.
Just in the way you said that this was a weapon, whenever you take away the checks and balances of the weapon becomes dangerous for everybody.
Yeah. And old world people, when they made these weapons, were truly trying to end magic, like fully.
All magic.
They wanted no more.
Yeah.
Whereas Jigang is just kind of trying to end magic for one side, not both. The chimes inherently are trying to fuck things up for everybody. So this is where, Jigang may have been trying to fuck things up for just Richard's side, but the chimes are not.
The chimes seem to be more on the chaotic side of things.
They are.
They don't care who their victims are.
Right. Very Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He kills anybody. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, to clarify, he doesn't care if you're cool with him or not. Like,
Yeah.
he'll just kill because he's here to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
did my sound like I don't listen to the or watch those movies?
Yeah, it sounded like you had no idea what I meant.
Oh, did my silence also kind of seem like I don't watch those movies?
Okay, to clarify, I'll just make this really, really fast. In the Michael Myers movie, in the one that Rob Zombie made, he kills his caretaker of like 20 years because he was locked up because he did some crazy shit as a kid. And as he kills him, his caretaker is saying, Mikey, I was good to you. Well, the point is, it doesn't matter if you were good to him. He's here to do a job, right? Spoiler alert, Michael's fucking evil and he's here to kill people. That's literally all he's here to do. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. The chimes are here to end magic. Doesn't care if you use it, but you're a cool guy, or if you have just the tiny spark, it's here to kill everything.
I missed that Austin Powers movie. But anyway.
Okay.
What?
Michael Myers. Anyways.
Mike Myers.
Oh!
Kahlan is of the mind that Zed and Ann can handle this shit. They said so. And Richard does not agree with her. He's like, there's more going on here. If they could just handle it, why did he send us away? Right? Why do we have to go away and go handle this? And Kahlan really still thinks that they need to just go to Agent Drill and smash the fucking thing.
That's what Mike Myers would say.
Do starts to talk shit about the chimes. She's like, our people can fucking, we're gonna fuck them up. It's fine. We can fuck them up.
With their swords.
Yeah.
Magical beings. You're going to kill them with swords.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, you're going to stab them a bunch.
Guys, send Do. She said they were going to take care of it. Kahlan, baby, problem solved, right?
Guys, Du's
We're
got
good.
this.
Richard stops her. He says she doesn't understand what the fuck she's talking about or the trouble she can cause. So that puts an end to that because we know that they get offended. They're little bitches. He starts thinking about Kolo's writings. They weren't always super detailed. Sometimes they were just a way to work out a solution to a problem. So he wasn't always like writing about the lead up to the problem. He was just writing, okay, how do we fix it? Or just details as they came in. He had mentioned that the wizard that went to go deal with the chimes was something Ander. We don't fucking know his first. He doesn't remember his first name.
Ander?
Yeah.
I think he just refers to him as Ander. Like Ander someone or someone Ander.
That's what Richard.
Yeah,
Richard doesn't
yeah.
remember what the first name was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know about
Yeah, we do.
Joseph Ander.
We do.
The wizard Ander.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He's also known as
I
the
don't.
Mountain.
You have.
Yeah, he's in
You've
this
heard
book.
of Joseph Ander.
Yeah, you have.
Author of The Mountain. Ancient Ander. The wizard Ander.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, that's okay if you don't remember, but we've heard the name.
Anderith.
What
Yeah.
I was
No, I
trying
know
to point
that.
out is that I've read this shit before. Just now put together that's the Ander here.
Was that earlier in this book we were told about Joseph Ander?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just don't remember.
He's the guy who founded Anderith. He made the bells. The bells of Anderith that protect everything there.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I think there's a chapter I must not be remembering very well right now.
That's
okay though.
He's come up here and there,
Yeah.
but the point is that those little tiny references
Yeah.
now have a solid focal point. Now the dude is a player.
He was the one who dealt with the chimes. We
Got
know
it.
this about him.
Got
So he's tied into our shit.
Kolo did not like this motherfucker. He called him the moral molehill instead of the mountain. Because he thought a lot of himself, but he wasn't that great.
What a clever little guy that Kolo is.
He is.
Molehill, got it.
Mountain, more like pff,
Molehill.
molehill.
This is where that molehill or mountain out of a molehill saying came from.
From Kolo,
Wow.
exactly.
From Kolo.
Look at that.
He was upset, though, that people weren't applying Wizard's fifth rule.
He said the thing.
Wizard's fifth rule is mind what people do, not only what they say, for deeds will betray a lie. We have this written in front of us beautifully by somebody. I don't know who wrote it, but
Absolutely.
it's great. Yeah.
Beautiful handwriting.
Ander only cares about himself, not the good of the people. And if you watch him, you will fucking see that by what he does. We will be having a little side path on that. So if you want to, you should go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/podcastatt and just take a little listen to what we're doing over there. Right now, you know what we're going to do at this very table?
I have no idea.
Listen to the side quest.
we're not going to do that. We're just
Oh.
going to take a little tiny mini break.
Oh,
And then Jade can have another beer, and then we'll come back.
well, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Bye. Hello, everybody. We're back. It's so great.
It's good to
Anyways.
be back.
Yeah, it is. We're going
It's
to keep
been
it
such a long time.
a super duper long time, which is why I'm so anxious to keep fucking chugging right along.
With our crushable hashtag poundable beer.
Yeah, I'm chugging the beer, also the notes. That's what's happening here. Lots of chugs. Okay, so Kara wants more info on the chimes, and Rich remembers more of what Kolo said. So the chimes are from the underworld. We fucking knew that.
Mhm.
They're conjured from the subtractive side alone. Once in this world, they create an imbalance because there's more subtractive here than they should be. So it's a problem. And also their existence here, though, requires additive magic. So they drain additive magic as long as they are in this world.
Question. How is it then that the chimes are able to create, like one of them's fire, but it's subtractive magic? And in the very first instance of Zed explaining how additive and subtractive magic work, they, I see you fucking creeping on me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He explains that you need to add something to something to make more.
Mhm.
So if a chime is made out of purely subtractive magic, how then Nora Fire get so big? I missed the word so I can keep the thought line.
Because they're
Why fire so big if mine is fire?
because they're sucking out the additive magic around them to eat the fire. I don't know. I'm not a magic professor.
Okay, it was just a little confusing to me.
I think the answer is because magic. But I think you could try to explain it as for the chime that is fire, when it removes the additive magic around or within, or that's just like the byproduct of having this much unnatural subjective magic, is fire. Like, I think it truly is just, it's because it's magic.
Because magic.
Yeah, that's just
Okay.
how the magic works.
Okay.
And we're, my guess, based on being 5 books and a prequel into this series, we're not going to get an explanation. So the answer is just going to be because magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're themed.
Okay.
It's because they're themed because they got themed. So the fire one does fire.
But they're not always themed. Sometimes they're chickens.
That's right. That's right.
God, we made it back to the chicken.
Look, I am fully willing to accept cause magic. If you think you know what it is, podcastatt@gmail.com. Shoot us a message in your journey book to let us know what you think it is.
Scribble, scribble.
So Richard also compares magic to a barrel of water. Chimes are like a hole in the barrel, like a hole in your love bucket, draining all the water out. And once it's all gone, the barrel will dry out and shrink, and then it'll only be a shell of what it once was. So, like
like a can of beer.
Kahlan thinking she was cheated on with like a hole in the bucket, and she
Oh.
will shrivel up like a cactus with no water, and it'll be sad.
This sounds very bleak.
Yeah, it is. It's depressing. The chimes not only drain the magic, but they also are creatures that can kill and take the appearance of what they killed. That's what we were just chatting about a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he shot the chicken that is not a chicken, it fled its phantom form, and the real chicken was laying by the spirit house the whole time.
Oh, it was there the whole time.
The whole time.
So
exactly.
This is the explanation of why Richard was so freaked out. Is it because he saw the dead chicken and then saw that same dead chicken alive multiple times after?
Because
But
it
he
stole
never-
the form.
But he never stopped and explained that to anyone, much like what we were just discussing is the problem with Richard.
Yeah, it
he never
copycatted.
explains.
Yeah.
He saw it dead and then he saw it alive and
Yeah.
he went, that doesn't fucking make sense to me. That's why that chicken's not a chicken.
I don't know why he didn't just go grab the dead chicken and be like, see?
Look, it's the same chicken.
Just shake the dead chicken in front of
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
real aggressively.
See the chicken right there in the windowsill? It's the exact same one as the dead one in my hand. There's no such thing as identical chickens. I don't think. I've never looked that up. Don't look it up.
Twin chickens.
But yeah, Jade, you sussed it out. That's the thing Richard should have done to begin with.
Mhm.
Like, we got some other stuff, right? We got Fitch and a whole bunch of extra story, but we could have skipped like 99% of this had we jumped right there. You know what I mean? It could have been done.
But Richard doesn't like to fucking open his mouth. Never mind.
But he's got a problem with communication.
He does. He does let her know at this point, though, that people can't be used in this way, right? The chimes can't go into people. It needs to have no soul. They don't have a soul. It has to be something with no soul, like a rock.
Unless you're Jagang.
They're opposites. Jagang needs a soul.
Is the opposite. He can only inhabit soulful things.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to point out is that everything could be the fucking enemy. Not just bad guys. Literally good guys, inanimate objects, anything.
Yeah.
Guys could be Jagang. Chickens could be chimes.
You know what you need? Constant vigilance.
Constant vigilance.
Delightful. So weapons like Jagang that had souls could be controlled. The chimes that don't have souls can't be controlled. They're just like chaos, basically, like we were talking about before.
Not going to reference the Joker. Keep going. Keep going.
Hold your breath. That's fine. So chimes couldn't be people, but could be an animal or in the wind or a puddle. They slip along borders where this meets that. Cracks in rocks, water's edge, that type of fucking thing.
In the shadow, the thing just outside of the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
Always existing, never fully perceived.
Lurking?
Yeah. I'm lurking!
See, wouldn't lurking would be a better name for them than the fucking chimes.
The three lurks? Kind of like the Three Stooges?
Guys, I need you to stop saying lurk. I just have this whimsical feeling that washes over me every time you say
I
lurk.
just become overwhelmed with joy every time you say lurk.
You know how we talked about like
happened again.
music and emotion? When I hear lurk, that triggers the whimsical emotion in me.
Well,
Lurk is so funny.
some chimes are of such beauty that they steal your breath forever.
Ooh.
And they're shaped by the victim's desire. That's what we found with Roberta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened with you.
But are you trying to say I stole your breath forever? Or
You took my breath away.
Oh, that's so nice. But you're alive, so that's cool.
Yeah, except I didn't die.
Yeah.
That's a
Let's
really
just
big part of it.
clarify, yeah.
Legally speaking, Jade wants it known that she's not a succubus, okay?
But some also crave attention and they want to be worshipped and they may even protect those who revere them. But if you stop revering them, then they turn on you and kill you. And my thing was, have we seen an example of that in the book yet? I don't think we have.
If you stop revering them, they turn on you and kill you.
Yeah.
So, like, if you insult them?
Yeah, you have to worship them. But we haven't seen any examples of them being worshipped.
Oh no, I don't think
Like
we've seen any
rain
worship.
Or
Yeah. We've
Now
seen the insulting happen, but we've
Right.
not seen worship causing reverence. So yeah, he must have got that from Kolo's journal because we've not seen it.
I just thought it was interesting that we've seen some examples, but Terry didn't give us that example.
What about the thing about Richard, how you can be like, hey, I pledge my fealty to you with the devotion, but then Richard also saying, join me or die. Is that kind of the line?
We're talking specifically about giving reverence to the chimes, and then they are nice to you in return. We've never seen
kill
an
you.
example of that.
Because yes, you're right. But
you are correct, yes.
But the chimes we haven't seen an example of doing this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But there definitely is if you're nice to the chimes, they could be nice to you.
Yes.
So what if I'm just, okay, follow me down the rabbit hole. What if you're a magical being that's nice to the chimes? Then what happens?
Well, that's what we're saying is Richard is claiming that the chimes will be nice to you, or at least
Protect you,
Yeah,
even.
not be a dick to
It
you.
says it'll protect you.
We just have never seen an example of that yet.
Of
We're
the chimes being
told it.
good.
Yes.
They're just being shitty.
Yeah. We've
Yeah.
never had it confirmed that that's happening. I have a suspicion that that's maybe why the chimes were avoiding Richard.
Or being nice to Kahlan, maybe.
Or being nice to But like, because we talked about how it seemed like the chimes were avoiding Richard. And if we go back to that, it might be that that Richard was the only one giving reverence to he was like,
chicken.
These are dangerous and we need to be careful. So treat it with respect and
It
do
all
all
comes
this.
back to the chicken.
And that chicken's like, oh, that guy's pretty cool. I'm not going after him. I'm going to go after the other shits that keep talking shit about me.
This guy's eating a hamburger. He's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then follow-up question real quick. I'm sorry. Why did they go after Nora? Why did they go after Roberta?
Because they just want to kill people.
They're chaotic.
They are chaotic.
Sometimes good,
Yeah.
sometimes
So
bad.
if you're actively nice to the chimes, they may actively avoid causing you harm. Not necessarily because they are pure chaos, but if you're bad to them, then they'll kill you.
You can't talk about them all like they all have the same mind. Some like some things, some like other things. Some like attention, some don't like attention. Some just like to murder.
As much as I hate to say this, the chimes are kind of like the Joker, and that sometimes he doesn't kill his henchmen.
Sometimes they're just out to watch the world burn.
But there's multiple, I guess, is what the point is. And
Yeah.
that some of them want that attention, and some of them don't give a fuck.
See, so I'm grouping the chimes. See, I'm being the asshole now.
Yeah.
I put them
Don't
all in
stereotype
the
them.
same
Yeah.
stereotypical category,
Yeah.
and that is inherently incorrect.
That
Which
chicken
is-
might have killed you.
Which is wild, because they also don't have souls,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they do have intentions.
They have morals,
Interesting.
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, hey, you know what? I learned and grew as a person today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. They don't have souls, but their feelings can get hurt. It's interesting.
Like redheads.
The translation of their names from High to Horan is the Chimes of Death or the Chimes of Doom. So just remember that.
So they're not good,
No.
is what you're saying.
Nah.
Hey, so what's the full name of the chimes? Do we think we can get them on our side? Well, they're kind of called the Chimes of Death, so probably not.
Like, you don't want to be buddies with these guys.
Yeah.
You really don't.
No, not until the end, anyways. You gotta have music at the end.
That's true.
Oh,
Chimes.
Always music at the end.
Yeah. Chan turns the convo back to Kahlan and how she doesn't fucking believe what Richard's saying about it being the chimes. And Kahlan's like, well, Zed's explanation. She says, well, Zed's explanation made fucking sense. And at least they have a way to stop it if it's what Zed said.
Mhm.
And Richard at that point asserts that, yeah, that would be fucking cool, but it's the chimes, Kahlan. Okay? It doesn't, that would be awesome, but it's not. And Zed just wanted us to get out of harm's way. So that's why we're on this wild goose chase.
We're over
Kara-
here because he wanted us over here.
Right.
We've been duped.
Right. Kara is totally on Richard's side. He's Lord Rawl. He knows what fucking magic is. He knows about magic. So we're just going to fucking listen to him.
And I mean, we're going to get into it more, so we don't have to talk about this too much. But Richard has a thing here where when Kahlan is trying to say, like, hey, but based on what you told Zed, like, it should be good. Richard's response is, then why did he lie to us? Why didn't he trust us? If he really can take care of it, why not simply tell us the truth? Something more is going on. Maybe Richard, maybe he can't fucking do his job when he doesn't have all the information because you withhold it. Maybe that's why he lied to you, is because he's been lied to by you and now he has bad information and you are sending him off to do something he's not prepped for. Richard,
Ooh.
you dick.
I mean, that could be, but also
Waving
if
your
you're
hand at the magic man and saying, hey, just go fix it. And it's like, no, this requires a little more than you're giving it credence. So I need some things to make this happen, and I need you out of my fucking hair.
And that could be true, but I also think it's wild for Zed and Anne to be like, oh, the pebble in the pond, the most important person ever,
Yes.
and the most powerful person ever who has subtractive magic. Why don't you go hang out in a hole while we figure out the problem? And then, like, you have your ace. Why are you throwing it away? You're being ridiculous.
I feel like we keep coming back to this idea about what, Zed lied. Obviously, Richard is upset, but Richard is the seeker. We should have known, like, Zed should know that Richard's going to figure it out. I know I brought this up before, so he's not giving himself the whole time Hopefully he tricked Richard, but maybe he gave himself a few days because he's going to get out there, figure some shit out, come back and correct it. Right? Cross our fingers, hopefully.
Well, and we have confirmation because we got to read a chapter from Zed and Anne's perspective after Richard left that Zed does know it's the chimes.
Confirming, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to this whole fucking group of people is in a toxic relationship with each other where they all just go, I know better than you, so I'm not going to tell you shit. You go do something so you can stay out of my hair instead of collaborating.
Collaboration!
Making everything easier. More hands make less work. That's how this shit goes.
Well, Kahlan is on the train of not trusting Richard. You know, she's one of those people. And she's frustrated because she thinks that he is now convincing Kara by talking as if he has facts. By just being like, facts, this is real. I'm right, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. And she drops a comment alluding to him falling victim to Wizard's first rule.
Which I'm going to say, healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
That is, like, kinda, in real life even, everyone should be kind of walking around going, am I getting tricked by Wizard's first rule right now? Like, that's not a bad thing to just kind of default to. Like, there is that you don't want to do it too much because then that will definitely lead to, like, anxiety and a lot of other things. But, like, it's never bad to just be like, am I believing something because I'm scared?
Yeah.
Or maybe being a little dumb right now? Do I maybe need to sit and think about this a little bit? It's a good question to ask.
That's what makes this whole thing confusing because, like, between the two of them, I could understand. I mean, other than Kahlan, like, probably should trust the Seeker of Truth, but it's understandable for her to be like, both these things could be true. Just because you said it, why do you think that, like, you aren't right just because you're you, motherfucker?
Right. It would be much easier for Kahlan to trust Richard if Richard had just straight up told her where his mind was at this whole time.
Yeah.
Like I had made a comment earlier at this chapter. No, I'm not going to explain shit to you. You got to get there on your own. Well, now Kahlan has gotten there on her own and formed her own assumptions and opinions. And like, she got there, Richard. So now you've got to defend your point of view. And she finally calls him out with the Wizard's first rule. Like, Richard, I think maybe you're being a fucking idiot. This whole chapter we spent avoiding you explaining your stance to us. Explain the stance. This is a whole, like, I like the story. This is a whole extra chapter we could have done without had this not happened.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's the point. We're supposed to be frustrated because these people aren't perfect heroes.
And keep talking about things we know. And
They
things like that,
keep
yeah.
rehashing and keep making mistakes, and they're not... Altogether, sometimes they're not great people.
Well, and let's look at it. Why are we in this current situation? Because Richard thought he knew something was one way, as in Duchailu's culture was not important.
Right.
He was wrong. So it's very hard for someone who was just proven to be wrong that then they come and look at you and go, but you have to believe me because I'm right. I realize I am sounding hypocritical because I said... Kahlan agreed that earlier in the chapter that she should listen to Richard because he is the seeker of truth. And that is kind of the default. Like, he is supposed to know the truth more than he's not. But the problem is, much to Kahlan's point of view, Richard has been wrong, at least in the short term, plenty of times.
Because a lot of the thing about being seeker of truth is your perception on things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just how dangerous is it to just automatically assume that anything Richard says is true or believes is true just because he is a fucking seeker?
Yeah.
That's a gross place to be. We don't want to be there either.
You need the healthy skepticism. That's why I don't mind Kahlan being like, are you sure it ain't Wizard's first rule?
Yeah, that's not a good hero, honestly, to have in your book that's just like, whatever he thinks, however he reasons things out, he's fucking right. Because that's just how it works. And I know we do deal with that a lot in this series, where Richard just happens to be right. And that is where it gets a little frustrating for me, because... No, he isn't all the time. You wouldn't inherently, even if you are the seeker of truth. No, you're human.
Mm-hmm.
So you make mistakes.
And a lot of what Richard has said is, hey, I don't care if it's against what I think is going on. I want you to speak up. And Kahlan, as annoying as it is a lot of times, she's that voice that goes, hey, Richard, check yourself, bud. Are you sure you're right? Or do you just think you're right?
So he finally decides that before he wrecks himself, he's gonna need to have her on his side. So he wants her to believe him, and he has to tell her. All throughout this chapter, there's been a weird thing that he keeps thinking in his brain that he has to tell her, but he doesn't say what it is. He just alludes that there's something and doesn't tell the reader what it is. So we're finally going to figure out what that is in the next chapter. Oh, cliffhanger.
So weird. The fact that we were finally getting to the truth in chapter 28 will actually come out in chapter 29.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Fun.
So do you have any prophecies on what it might be? Actually, probably not because you read it.
Well, I was gonna say I have read the next chapter already. But I did have a wizard's note, and as Richard was describing Kolo's journal and like how he said like Kolo tended to write with like opinion in it and stuff, it reminded me a lot of someone we've learned about in a lot of Side Paths episodes. It kind of reminded me of Cicero. Like, it was like, oh, he was always writing about what was going on. He was always making sure he knew. He put his opinions in there. And I'm like, I wonder how much Terry Goodkind maybe knew of Cicero and was like, Kolo's my Cicero.
He's the guy.
Richard's going to get all the info because there was a guy a long time ago who had a fear of missing out on information and wrote everything down. And there we're at, Wizard's Notes.
Foresaw some crazy shit happening, and it was just like, this is bad, just in case you find this book.
Hey, I am of the opinion that there is no such thing as bad information. You can apply information in a bad way.
Correct.
But information is just there.
Information is information. A Terry Goodkind fan will appreciate this. Information is what it is.
Knowledge is power.
Perfect.
Well, that's our truth. And we would love to hear yours. Write to us in your journey books to podcastatt@gmail.com or find us on any of our social means.
Glug.
If you would like to find and support this podcast and hear some more of our hilarious voices and such funny jokes, you should go over to patreon.com/podcastatt. Where every tier is a happy tear. That sounds manic. Thank you all for listening, and that's all for us, friends.
See you real soon.
Toodaloo, kangaroo.
Bye.